Hello,
Kia ora.
it's me Pratap Bajracharya,
And I'm Emmanuel Enya, Abgor.
and today we're going to talk about fairness in hybrid world, legal and HRM challenges of remote work.
Now here is our learning outcome. At the end of the workshop, HR professionals in Aotearoa, New Zealand will have the ability to evaluate legal and HRM issues of hybrid work and implement proven approaches to ensure fairness, equity, and compliance with organizational goals and employment laws.
Let's talk about the hybrid work landscape, where hybrid work is increasing rapidly worldwide. Employees lack flexibility, and employers gain productivity and cost advantages.
And as a result of hybrid work, there are some fairness challenges that arises. There is the challenge of how to treat in-office employees with hybrid workers fairly. In Aotearoa, New Zealand, hybrid work exists in areas like the finance, IT, and public service.
Now, HR professionals must design policies that balance the flexibility, consistency, fairness, compliance with legal and organizational requirement.
Fairness in human resource management is very crucial, and it can be understood through three different dimensions of justice. One of them is procedural justice, the next one is distributive justice, and the last one that we'll be discussing today is interactional justice. Procedural justice simply refers to fairness in the procedures used in decision making. This simply implies that whatever procedure is being used to make decisions that affect in-office work should also be considered when making decisions that affect hybrid workers. There should not be two different aspects of procedures that should be used for two different for the categories of workers. Rather, it should be the same.
Now, distributive justice, it is concerned about the fair allocation of outcomes such as pay, workload, and recognition. Based on contribution, outcomes have to be seen as fair irrespective of where an employee is located. Let's take an example where two employees may be of the same performance in terms of sales, but the office employee is the one who receives a bonus because they are in the site of the office.
Now let's talk about interactional justice, which lays emphasis on respectful and open communication, especially in the areas of making decisions. And managers have to be very careful when making decisions. They have to be considerate of everybody within the work environment. They have to communicate clearly with all staff, regardless if they are hybrid workers or in-office workers. There is some example that you could look at when the manager is simply always giving out instruction to in-office workers. For instance, when they'll meet during coffee break, but the same managers might not really take up time to communicate such instructions or communicate closely with hybrid workers. This needs to be considered as HRM going through the complex nature of hybrid work.
Let's talk about the critical HRM challenges in hybrid work. The first is proximity bias, performance management, lack of access to networks, employee well-being, and data privacy. Talking about proximity bias, it is possible that managers make decisions regarding promotion or recognition unconsciously and in favor in office staff. Proximity bias in professional growth has been studied as it was found that remote workers are 31% less likely to be promoted compared to their in-office counterparts.
The next challenge in this critical evaluation of challenges is performance management. This primarily concerns itself with measurement of performance of employees. And when an employee is working as a hybrid staff, it could be very challenging to measure their actual performance. Some companies can decide to use some technological advanced tools to measure their performance, but this can raise some ethical and legal concerns for the employees.
Next one is lack of access to networks. So remote employees frequently cannot enjoy informal discussion and network to determine career development. For example, a worker sitting in an office overhears all about the new project in a lunchroom and becomes a part of the team, whereas remote worker even don't know that the project exists.
The next challenge in this critical evaluation of challenges is performance management. This primarily concerns itself with measurement of performance of employees. And when an employee is working as a hybrid staff, it could be very challenging to measure their actual performance. Some companies can decide to use some technological advanced tools to measure their performance, but this can raise some ethical and legal concerns for the employees. So employees can argue that their privacy is in doubt or it has been compromised through the use of these tools, and this poses at a very big challenge for the HRO and professional.
Next one is lack of access to networks. So remote employees frequently cannot enjoy informal discussion and network to determine career development. For example, a worker sitting in an office overhears all about the new project in a lunchroom and becomes a part of the team, whereas remote worker even don't know that the project exists.
Now the next problem here is well-being, employee well-being, because as a remote worker, work has no work-life separation when working at home, and it poses a high risk of stress and burnout because you are at home working all the time, and at night when you probably want to rest, there might be a late email. As a hybrid worker, you want to open up your computer to respond to this email, or there's some work that you didn't complete and you have to complete them before the next day. Whereas as compared to the in-office workers, once they close from work, they are done for the day, go back home and rest, and that gives them a lot of time to rest, refresh, and start a new day afresh without having the problem of burnout.
Finally, data privacy. Tracking tools or over monitoring can violate privacy rights. For an example, an employee who is always being monitored can feel like their privacy is being violated, and this can bring a lack of trust between the employee and the organization.
All of these challenges exist in the hybrid work environment, and it is very important to consider each and every one of them when coming up with policies that will guide the hybrid work system in any organization. Now we are going to be looking at some legal and compliance framework in Aotearoa, New Zealand that HRO professionals must navigate in order to ensure fairness and compliance with hybrid work policies. Now let's look at the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015 that says it is the duty of employers to consider the health and safety of staff. This also applies to ergonomic arrangements, psychological health, and secure home-based working conditions.
Talking about second act, it is Employee Relation Act 2000. Now, it demands good faith in employment relation. This implies open and fair practices in a hybrid environment where every decision is fair and made public.
We also have the Privacy Act 2020 that governs personal information in terms of collection, storage, and use. This is essential in the view of any digital monitoring tools, and it needs to be explicitly consented to and explicitly policy driven on how the data are used.
And finally, we have Human Rights Act 1993, which bans discrimination of different criterions. Indirectly discriminatory policies includes those policies that are disadvantageous to some groups, such as healthcare.
And non-compliance with all of these legal frameworks when coming up with hybrid work policies can be very detrimental because it can bring up even some legal actions against any organization that does not consider all of them.
Now, to better understand hybrid work, let's see it from the global perspective what international approaches are being taken places. Talking about the UK, the Flexible Work Regulations 2014 gives employers the right to formally request flexible work. Employers are required to give acceptable business grounds if they refuse, and a hybrid arrangement is not given automatically.
Unlike the United Kingdom, in the United States, remote or hybrid working rights are not ensured by the federal system. Policies are also usually established at company level, and this will lead to uneven access to these policies.
Now, to sum up, let's see from the perspective of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Though there is no legal right to hybrid work, the New Zealand Environment of Health and Safety and Employment Laws focuses on issue of fairness, good faith, and well-being, as New Zealand is known as the country of work-life balance. Now, understanding these global contexts helps HR professionals in New Zealand appreciate the strength and unique demands of their local legal landscape.
It is very important that we weigh the scale and do a critical evaluation of hybrid model to understand some advantages and disadvantages of hybrid work. Some notable advantages include enhanced employee satisfaction and independency, broader talent pool access including diverse demographics, potential for organizational cost savings, example office space, So the hybrid work system gives the employees some satisfaction because they have independence to decide how they work since they are working from home. It also helps the organization to tap from a broader talent pool because they can access from the global demography. And it also helps the organization to potentially save costs because all of the offices that they could have been paying for the hybrid work is cut out because these people work from home.
And there will be always be in disadvantageous situation. There will also be the managerial gap in hybrid supervise, and there will be lack of fair evaluation as well. There will be increase of legal liabilities regarding health, safety, and privacy. Now, as a strategic HR, they must leverage the benefits while actively mitigating the risks to build sustainable and equitable system for the hybrid workers.
As HRO seek to navigate the complex nature of hybrid work, there are certain approaches they must take into consideration. Example, policy grounded in research. This simply means that whatever policy the HR comes up with to guide hybrid work must be grounded in research, must be data driven. So research must be done in order to back each of these policies.
The second point is results focused performance management. Now, HR must make use of a system that are centered on clear deliberation and structured review to make sure that there is fairness between remote and in-office employees.
There's also the need to create purposeful in-person moment. This need to be an intentional act of bringing the office workers and the remote workers together. For instance, it can be avenues like product launch or onboarding. This will make for both the hybrid workers and the in-office workers to come in contact, and this will foster connection and network between.
Now, the HR must ensure that there is equitable access to development. They must ensure that there is equal access for both remote and office staff when it comes to training, monitoring, and network through programs that are well structured.
The next point is built-in privacy and compliance, which is embedded in hybrid work. Hybrid work design should come with legal and privacy consideration. HR must make use of framework with research backing such as zero trust and privacy by design to ensure employee data are protected. This will help to build trust between the hybrid worker and the organization, as they will be confident that their data is being protected and not compromised.
So these were some of the evidence-based HR approaches for hybrid work. An example of hybrid success, which was done by ANZ Bank of New Zealand. The organization has put through into operational flexibility work policies that allows for a hybrid arrangement. This also includes structural well-being programs and remote safety access. ANZ approaches has shown compliance with Health and Safety at Work Act while taking into account fairness in career development and employee engagement.
This example by ANZ goes to show how organizations in New Zealand can implement hybrid fairness in practical terms while still staying in line with compliance with all the legal frameworks.
Now, here are some recommendations for HR professionals, and they are balancing visibility through structured hybrid schedule, fair evaluation based on outcomes, not presence, building inclusive and planned in-person collaboration, enhancing employee well-being with hybrid balance, protecting trust through transparent practices. Now, starting from balancing visibility through structured hybrid schedules, according to Chowdhury and others in 2022 journal, carrying out structured hybrid schedules where employees spend about 25% to 40% of their work time on site. This sweet spot has proven to improve connectivity and performance while reducing isolation.
Now, fair evaluation based on outcome, not presence, is concerned with basing performance on clear deliverables. This simply means that when performance is to be measured, it should be measured as a result of what has been delivered, not because the person is present, because this is a simple mistake that can be made by the HR professionals when they only want to evaluate performance based on the fact that the person is present. So they could easily evaluate the in-office staff better than the hybrid staff. But reviewed should be there should be reviews from time to time to state clearly what deliverables has been met in order for performance to be very well evaluated.
The next one is building inclusion with planned in-person collaboration. Now, HR must adopt hybrid routine where team make plans for period in-person collaboration, as this will nurture connection and connectivity, which will add more balance to remote flexibility.
The next point is enhancing employee well-being with hybrid balance. There should be hybrid work patterns that allow employees to also spend time in the office, as this enhances satisfaction and reduces isolation. This sort of balance has proven to be advantageous to psychological health, according to Chodbury and others in their research.
Finally, protecting trust through transparent practices. HR must ensure that there is transparency by clearly communicating hybrid work arrangement to employees and emphasizing that they will be monitored based on performance output but not the location. According to Chowdhury and others in 2022 journal article, Harvard Business School research highlights the need for building trust in hybrid policies.
Successfully implementing this strategic recommendation will promote fairness, mitigate legal risks, and foster a stronger organizational culture in the hybrid work system.
Now, to conclude our workshop, we like to say that hybrid work is not a transitional change, but a change in the way of things we do. To the HR professionals out there in New Zealand, fairness and compliance should be the most important thing to the success of an organization.
And since hybrid work has come to stay, with evidence-based measures, compliance with the laws, and promotion of equity in everyday HR activities, we will be able to develop a sustainable and prosperous hybrid environment.
Thank you.